we're going to ask Ashley Rose to help us out. And we're going to do a game of story. And the other sticks and Ashley can come up on screen. There she is. Hello, Ashley. Let's make sure we can hear you.
Oh, hey, Whit.
Hey. Yeah, so sounds like it was a great conference today.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Definitely blew my expectations out of the water.
Very cool, very cool. Well, hey, can you zoom in a little bit more so we can see you a little bit better? But hey, so today's conference and the stuff that Living Security does, I mean, it's all cybersecurity type stuff. So we want to have a story title that has a little bit of a cybersecurity flair to it. So all of you folks in the audience, we're going to ask you to give us the title of a story that has never been written. And Amy, look for one that has something with a little bit of a cybersecurity twist to it. We're going to lean into the theme of the day. And while that's happening, Ashley, what was, do you have a moment that stood out to you today from the conference?
There's so many moments with
those
last two sessions couldn't have been more different, but I think it was just the flavor that we needed to wrap up our conference. We had a behavioral change expert on kind of second to last, and had amazing strong opinions and some really great ideas of how security awareness professionals can really kind of lean into behavior change and advertising and marketing concepts. And I thought, overall it was, great conversation between him and Drew. And then of course, Chris Nickerson, CEO of Layers, to round us out, talking about security awareness into 2030. It just couldn't have been a better end to the event. So yeah, super happy overall.
Nice. Well, hey, while that's been going on, I see we are getting a ton of titles. So Amy is going to have a lot to work with here. But Amy, while you're picking one of those for us, it looks like a ton of great ones too. So we're just going to have to pick one and go with it. But we're going to do this story, this cybersecurity tale with a conducted story kind of model. And the way we do that, you'll see on your screen that each of the sticks and Ashley has been given a number by their name. And what that number will correspond to is the number of fingers that I will hold up. So when I'm holding up the number 1, Don is going to be the one telling the story. And when I change the number, then the person who that number represents will pick up right where the other person left off, whether it's mid-sentence, mid-paragraph, mid-word, mid-syllable, mid-schwa-e, whatever it is, and we'll continue the story. We might have a couple of chapters because we want to make sure we get the full meat of the story in a short amount of time here. And Ashley, you're going to be participating, and you are number 3, but always number 1 in our hearts. So Amy, what do we have as a suggestion for our title, our story today?
Manju suggested Goldilocks and the 3 passwords.
Goldilocks and the 3 passwords. Okay. All right. Make sure you save the chat box, Amy, because I feel like there are plenty that we'll want to play with after the fact. But Goldilocks and the 3 passwords is great for our story. So Jonathan, I want to make sure we can hear you. And here we go with story and begin.
She was trying to set her password and she wanted to find the password that nobody else had ever used. QWERTY came to mind, but that seems to be a pretty common one.
In the part of the nation that Jessica was hanging out in. So she's thinking, well, my birthday, my pet's name,
and all of the streets that I lived on combined and switched into special characters, that's probably going to be something they'll never, ever guess.
But then she decided that password would be way too hard to remember. So she looked at her wall, she saw a picture of an apple and decided apple 123 was going to be the password that she was going to go with.
Bears were having none of it. They were furious that their precious documents were locked behind such a weak password. They were saying, why can't we find something more creative?
that we can lock up all of our secret documents behind and that won't be so easily hacked
into. So the bears are thinking, you know what?
I think I'm gonna make her use a password manager, because if she uses a password manager, then the password manager will be able to judge whether or not that password was good or not, and then she'd be forced to
use a new one. So the password manager that they used was Goldie.
Locks and Security Software LLC. It was from Canada. It was the best
password manager that this company had ever seen. It was a startup, actually, and we all know that startups are super duper secure, so we can definitely trust this password manager. Nobody's ever going to hack into it.
All right, there we go. That is chapter 1. And Ashley, I'm convinced that we're actually learning something along the way. That is fantastic. Okay, so we're going to skip forward in the story to chapter 2. We've got our password manager, we've got our new technology with our startup, but we need something or someone to enter in to chapter 2 somehow. So what would be something that would get in the way of a good, strong, secure system? If you can put that, I don't know if my suggestion is request is all that clear, but if you could put something in the chat box to help us out with, we're going to have some little thing that's going to make it hard for us to keep these things secure. That'll happen in chapter 2. So
I have something, Whit.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes, I do. In fact, Belinda has suggested, I think, that it's Sting. Every breath you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you.
All right. Well, I'm not exactly clear on how that relates to what I was asking for, but I know the song, I know the sentiment. So here's the deal. Here's how we're going to put those things together. Somehow Sting has hacked into our system, and we have to figure out how to remove the Trojan horse that he has planted into our Goldilocks and something LLC password manager. That's what's going to happen in chapter 2. Ashley, this is what we're doing. Here we go, and here is chapter 2. Go.
The bears rejoiced because Goldilocks had a new, better password. But there was a problem. Sting
was trying to hack the system. He was getting into their Apple Watches, the breathing app.
that takes care of your health and make sure that you're getting steps that you aren't really getting. What you need to do is contact the best security firm that you can.
So the Apple Watch actually had a vulnerability, and unfortunately it came from her downloading a malicious link from a phishing email. And so a keylogger was installed on all of her devices, and so every time she reused that new awesome password, it was able to grab it, and now they're able to do, you know, password stuffing and get into all of her accounts. And so unfortunately, regardless of the password manager, she's not secure.
I just wanted to hear more, but
No,
okay.
just to keep going.
So with her unsecure Apple Watch and Sting watching every move that she was doing, Goldilocks was thinking, you know, maybe.
The best thing that I can do is to
go.
That was a little unclean breakdown. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give you a little consequence for that. Don is now going to have to complete the rest of this time using an accent. So if you could put some accents in the chat box, that's what Don is going to have to continue with. So go ahead and put those accents into the chat box. What do we have, Amy? Oh, people were ready for
We have, John would like to suggest cowboy.
All right. Well, that's too easy for Don because she's from Denver. So I'm going to give, I'm Dallas. So I'm going to give cowboy to Jake. Let's get another one for Don.
She is Russian for sure.
Okay, Russian. And Jonathan seems like he feels like he's avoided this. So let's give him one as well.
Manny would like to suggest that he is British.
Okay, and how about for Taylor?
Taylor is Scottish and you know it, and that is Stephanie.
Okay. Hey, Ashley, you want an accent or no?
I do not want an accent.
What
Do you
would
guys
be
ever
the
play
accent?
the accent game? All mine come out sounding the exact same.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll just we'll give you sort of a expat American in Canada is what we'll have to honor our Canadians. You don't have to be Canadian. You're an American in Canada somehow. Okay, so this is chapter 3. We are going to finish up our tale of Goldilocks and the 3 passwords. Here we go.
Saoirse, just because your Apple Watch is exposed doesn't mean the bears aren't going to protect you.
I do say it's most important that you make sure that you're secure. You must check the security each and every...
Hey, you're out there, mister. You gotta find it. And you gotta get them bears, and those bears, you gotta be reaching into the dadburn lake and grabbing them fish before they get on you. They gotta grab them. You got a fish problem, you got a bear solution.
One quick pause here. Did I say boss hog? Okay, continue on.
Oh, you go fishing with these bears for the passports, and you pull the passports out, and they're written on the fishes. The fishes, then you slap.
Okay. I don't even know what she was saying. Goldie decided to install 2-factor authentication, and so it didn't really matter if she had a strong password, right? Because then she'd be protected.
Most important, you may recall, is if you have 2-factor thing installed and ready to go, it's not
Enough for you to have. You must have big Russian man come to your house, put arms around computer, hug real tight, and then passwords are good.
All right, there we go. That is the game of story. Wonderful job. Ashley, thank you so much. Thank you
Nice
for putting this conference together and letting us be a part of it.
Thanks for
We hope
coming.
to see
This
you.
is awesome.